In the last video, we talked about how to animate a ball bounce in After Effects, and this is what we get from the last video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to animate a more complex ball bounce. Let's go to the other composition I have here. Here we go. We have the same scene here. However, let me show you what is the animation that we're trying to achieve here in this lesson. So now you can see my ball is actually interacting with those boxes here. It hit one place and then hit another place, and then it goes up to the stair thing, and then it hit this wall and bounced back. It's pretty realistic. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to animate this in After Effects. If I select all these keyframes here, you can see there's a motion path to this animation, and then it resembles to the ball bounce curve that I showed you in the previous class. It's the ball itself is losing energy after each bounce, and also the angle when the ball hit the ground is the same angle as the ball leaves the ground. So those are the two general rules that we need to follow when we animate. Anyways, I want to delete the keyframes now and then show you how to do it. Now we have this ball. Let's drag the ball over here into the scene. And first, I want to pull a ruler down so that I know where is the ground. This is going to be my ground here. And first, what I want to do is I want to animate the Y position first as a general bounce. I don't want to animate X and Y at the same time, because that case, if you're just started, it's gonna kind of confuse you because there's so many things that you need to consider. To make things easier, let's just animate the Y position first as a ball bounce, straight up and down ball bounce. First of all, let's add a keyframe here at 0 second on the Y position. So go for 15 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drag this keyframe to the 15th frame mark, and then go back to 0 second. Now I can just pull this Y position, pull the ball outside of the frame so that the ball is dropping from the top. Like that. And then another 15 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just want to copy this Y position again because after one bounce, the ball is going to hit the ground again. Command C, Command V, and then maybe another 15 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Command V. So right now the Y position is not changing. It has the same value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Command V. Let's right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. And then let's go into the graph editor. Make sure you're in the value graph instead of the speed graph. Fit the graph to view with this button here. Now I just want to change this curve to be a bounce curve. Remember, we had this ball bounce here. And then if we go into the graph editor and then pull up the Y position, so a ball bounce is going to be like this. I want to transfer this curve into this ball bounce that I have here. So the ball is going to fall from the top, and then I just want to kind of pull these handles, make sure the angle going into the ground is the same angle as leaving the ground. And maybe I want to add one more, 15 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then hold down Command on the keyboard, mouse left click, add a keyframe. Just slightly adjust this handle here because the last one, the energy is losing and there's not much energy at the end. So I want the curve to be more gentle, very gentle. Now you can see this is going to be my ball bounce animation. Let's preview and see what it looks like. I feel like the third curve here is too low. So I want to pull this up a little bit more, making sure we still have the energy for the latter part of the bounce. Let's preview this. Yeah, that looks better to me. And now what's gonna happen is I'm gonna add in the X position change. So in order for the ball to hit this box first and then hit this circular stage second, I need the ball to come from the left as if someone threw the ball into the scene, right? So I need a X position value change. And now since when I hit the X position, my Y position value graph is not in this graphic panel anymore. However, I need to see this Y position in this graph editor in order to know what's happening. So in order to do that, we have this icon here. If we hit this icon, the Y position graph is always going to show in this graph editor. Although we're in the X position graph, this Y position graph is always going to be in this graph editor. So this way, I can use this Y position as a reference, and then I can animate the X position. So now, what I want to do is just to drag this ball. Right now, if I just change the X position, you can see the ball is moving to the left. I want this ball to move all the way to the left outside of the frame and then add a keyframe there. And then around the 2-second mark, I want to drag this X position out. Now you can see there's a bouncing curve. It's going to show me what's happening right now. I just want to drag it all the way out. Something like this. So now, when I look at this curve here, I want to make sure the ball, when it comes down, following this motion path, it's going to hit this box first, and somehow it's going to hit the stage second, and the energy, the momentum is still going to carry the ball over to hit onto this stage here, this box here. And when I look at the curve right now, it kind of does what I wanted, because the curve right now is going to bring the ball up to this stage here. However, the latter part of the motion pass is not going to work because the ball is going to hit this part and then hit on this wall here and bounce back instead of keep going forward. So in that case, we need to animate and change the Y position. What I want to do here is, so just drag the timeline indicator and then try to figure out when the ball hit this box, at which frame the ball kind of hit that box there. So around here, if I just drag it one more frame, it goes over to the bottom. So I need to just make sure the ball is gonna hit the box at this frame here. I want to add a keyframe on the Y position. Hold down Command on the keyboard and then left click on this Y position value graph. Now I can delete this graph because the ball is not gonna go down anymore, it's gonna bounce up. So I need the bounce to happen at this frame here instead of the frame after it. So I need to delete this frame, hit delete on the keyboard. Now I want to just slightly adjust this keyframe to make sure it touches that box. Let me zoom in. I'm just dragging this up and down to manipulate the Y position. Right now, I want to make sure it hit that box. And then what happens is the ball is going to bounce on that point. So that's why I need to drag this handle. However, right now the two handle is connected together. When I change one handle, the other handle changes as well. That's not what I want. So I need to break the handle. To break the handle, I can select this icon here, hit on that, and then it's gonna break the handle. And now visually we can see the ball just after it hit the box, it's gonna bounce up. So that's what we want. And then we just want the ball to just keep going forward. Hit the stage, that's what I want. And then maybe I want this curve to go even higher. Let's try to make this curve here in the graph editor higher. Just drag it higher so that there's still a lot of energy carrying the ball to hit on this box over here. And if I make this curve higher, I better make this curve even higher because I don't want these two curves seem too similar, which means the energy is not losing enough. And that makes it unnatural, unrealistic. Still making sure the angle is the same. And then just hit that. And the energy is going to carry the ball over to this box here. I just want to find that point where the ball touches that box over there. However, I think it's too much to the right. I need the X position to come over to the left a bit more. So that's why I want to change at this point, the 2-second mark. I want to change the X position to the left a bit more to give the ball more room on this box. You see? Instead of hitting almost at the corner there, I want the ball to hit more to the left. So that's when the ball hits. I want to add a keyframe over here on the Y position. Hold down Command on the keyboard, left click, add a keyframe, and now we can delete this keyframe here. The keyframe after it, we don't need that anymore. Now the ball is going to bounce up again. So remember I told you how to change the handle. To break up the handle, use this icon over here. Another way is you can hold down Option key on the keyboard or Alt on the PC, and then just you see that cursor has changed to this arrow here. And now once you drag the handle, it's gonna break that handle for you. I just wanna make sure when it bounces like that, it's gonna have less energy than the previous bounce. Maybe something like that. I still wanna try to maintain the same angle here. And now when it bounces on to that wall over there, that's where it hits, right? So at that second, the X position is going to change, right? So the ball is going to change its direction coming to the left hand side. Now I need to add a keyframe on the X position. Hold down Command on the keyboard and then add a keyframe on the X position. And now I need to drag this X position down to make sure the rest of the motion is going to a different opposite direction. And now since the whole animation lasted for 3 seconds, I need to drag this final keyframe on the X position to the 3-second mark, right? However, right now, I feel like there's not enough energy. So the ball hit that wall. I need the ball to bounce up a bit more. Right now you can see the curve, it just goes straight down. That's not what I want. What I want is, I want this ball to kind of bounce up a bit more, something like that. And then I feel like the X position right now is messing this up because right now I need to make the ball to come even further to the left. If the ball goes this way, and then it makes more sense for the ball to travel further to the left. Okay, that's what we have so far. I think it looks good. And there's one more thing we need to fix, because remember, like I said in the previous video, when the ball loses energy in the back end of the animation, it's not gonna take as long as the front end, which means all these keyframes is gonna get closer and closer to each other when it comes to the end. But right now, since when I started, I only put like 15 frames apart from each keyframe, so that all these keyframes right now, they have the same timing between each other, which doesn't make sense in real life. We need to bring some of these keyframes closer to each other at the end, and just to try to make it more realistic. So in order to do that, I need to, maybe from here, I need to bring these keyframes closer. And now I don't have enough height for this bounce here. So that case, I need to drag it up. And now I don't have enough, I feel like I don't have enough X position in there anymore. So I need to just maybe drag the ball even closer to the left, so that after the bounce, the ball is still traveling to the left, like that, and then hit the ground, right? And then I need to bring this bounce closer. Let me zoom in. I want to see how many frames we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 frames. I want this bounce to be a bit more noticeable. I still like to have like a little bounce on the ground. That's 6 frames. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to add a bounce that's 4 frames, and then 1, 2, 3. Maybe add a bounce to 3 frames, and then 1. Maybe add a last final slight bounce as 2 frames, so that it ends at this point here. It's going to end at the same time as the X position. So now I need to just grab these handles, give it a bit more bounce, to make it very natural. Okay, let's see what we have now. Yeah, that looks much better. Let me deselect and see it more clearly. Okay, and now we haven't add any rotation to the ball. We can just add some of the rotation so it looks more realistic. But you can tell all of a sudden the bouncing at the end part, it looks much more promising. Let's bring our rotation value here, Shift R, and then add a keyframe at 0 second. I want the ball to maybe, before it hit that wall over there, I want this, let's try to put 1 full rotation before I hit the wall. And then after I hit the wall, I want it to rotate in the other direction. So maybe negative, so it's still 0, but then I want to add in maybe negative 270. Let's see. Let's see what it looks like. I feel like the ball is rotating too much. So right now, I need to bring the first rotation down, maybe to 240 something, and then bring this one up. And another thing is the last keyframe of the rotation, if I bring this rotation keyframe back maybe 2 frames so that the rotation ends earlier than the other 2 keyframes, the other position keyframes, it's going to give you an illusion that the ball is going to slide into the final position because there's no energy for it to rotate anymore. It gives it a more realistic feeling. So let's see what it looks like now after the changes. So I think what I want to do is I want to extend the keyframe on the X position, maybe for 2 frames, to give an illusion that the ball is also sliding. I want to add a keyframe and then drag this one down. I don't want to change this keyframe, drag it to the right, because it's going to mess up some of my keyframe in the front. So if I add a keyframe and then let the ball just keep traveling further, it's not going to change anything that I animated previously. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. Yep, I like that. So that the stop is more smooth. It's not so abrupt. And then although the ball is rotating at the beginning, it looks to me that at the end, it doesn't have enough energy to rotate anymore. So it kind of just slide on the ground until it comes to a stop. Okay, so there you go. That's how you do a more complex ball bounce. After this lesson, you should have full control of your object in some of the scenarios that you're going to encounter when you do the animation. And now you can just fully control your object and do whatever you like.